let you go. There's no way. I'm already still burning. So hold me close. Now, baby, I do what I'm told. Still learning to take my chances, to take my time, to keep on dancing, to walk that line. Yeah, you got me shifting the paradigm. No longer wishing. You're my lucky strike. Love the way you ride. Look into my eyes, say you're ready to go. $1 million life, yeah. We could roll the dice. Act like you're surprised, but you already know. Oh yeah, got lucky overnight. Jackpot when I got the invite. Let me wrap my arms around you, 'cause I can't go home without you. And my heart just vibe with you, babe. Wanna go sky high with you, babe. Gotta bring you close to tell you that you're my lucky strike. And I got to tell you, if you didn't know, then I got to tell you that you're my lucky strike. And I got to tell you, if you didn't know, then I got to tell you that you're my lucky strike. Cooler than cold, I'm all in. So load up the dice, so heavy. The way that you roll, I'm falling. So I never fall. I'm ready to take my chances, to take my time, to keep on dancing, to walk that line. Yeah, you got me shifting the paradigm. No longer wishing. You're my lucky strike. Love the way you ride. Look into my eyes, say you're ready to go. $1 million life, yeah. We could roll the dice. Act like you surprised, but you already know. You're my lucky strike. And I got to tell you, if you didn't know, then I got to tell you that you're my lucky strike. And I got to tell you, if you didn't know, then I got to tell you that you're my lucky strike.
Well, hello, folks. You know you're in for a treat when you hear that tune, because it's time for another week of the RecPoker podcast. Holy cow, we made it another week. I can't believe it. Can you believe it? We're here. It's Monday night. Just like every Monday night, we get to hang out with a luminary from the poker world and talk about this game that we all love so much. I have to thank our sponsors for giving us the chance to be here every week. That would be the Running Aces Hotel, Racetrack, and Casino. We couldn't do what we do without their support. That's because most of what we do here at RecPoker is free. We're a largely volunteer-based organization, but we do have a fantastic premium membership that's really the backbone of how we support our members and how they support us back. So I want to thank two new members, Jesse Schrader and Carmine Pesca. Jesse, I think, was a winner of the 100K stream draw that our friend Rob Gardner ran a little while ago. And Jesse, I hope you're enjoying some of the benefits of premium membership here. And Carmine Pesca, I haven't had a chance to meet yet, but I'm looking forward to sending them that email outlining all the new amazing stuff that's available to them as a RecPoker Premium member, and then we'll get together one-on-one on Zoom so I can walk them through and show them how to get the most out of their membership here. So I've thanked the sponsors, the premium membership. I guess I should introduce myself. My name's Jim Reid. I'm Bluffsterini in the home game and at RecPokerJim on Twitter. But it's not just me. It's a village. There's a crew. There's a gang that runs everything we do here at Rec Poker. The RECing Crew are the magic makers that flip the switches and make all the magic happen here. And if you want to find out more about me or the rest of the RECing Crew, you can go to rec.poker/crew, but you can also just listen up because you're going to meet a few of them right here tonight on the show.
Well, I'm Chris Jones. You can find me 5B5 on Twitter and 5x5 in the PokerStars home game.
My name is Joe Coolis. You can find me on Twitter at JoeCoolPhD, cool with a K, as Elvita11 in the home game.
And I'm John Somsky. You can find me at Poker Geek MN everywhere.
Sorry, I was muted. I'm Kim Kilroy. I'm PetVet33 on most platforms. I'm Fergie56 in the home game.
And I mentioned a couple new premium members, but every once in a while, I have to shout out one of our existing members who does something extremely cool. So this one's for Jack and Jill Burke. I'm not going to get into the details about what they're putting together, but it's extremely cool. It's a really wonderful way that they are supporting Rec Poker on their own, and I just really appreciate it. So Jack and Jill Burke, thanks for coming up the Rec Poker Hill, and we really appreciate your support and all the fun that you bring. I hope we get the chance to meet up sometime soon as well. And I mentioned 100K Studios because they sent Jesse Strader our way. They're going to have some new cool stuff going on Tuesday nights. There's going to be a chance to win some more prizes by playing in our home game club on Tuesday nights. That's going to be brought to you by 100K Studios. So we'll talk about that a little later in the show because we got to get to the goods. We've got Elizabeth Bennett-Martin in the room today, EBM herself, longtime Rec Poker member, even longer time member of the elusive and coveted membership of the Poker Friends Forever group with Elizabeth and Kim and Stewie Carriage. I'm having fun all over the world, living the life. Elizabeth, you've had some remarkable success recently, but first of all, I just wanted to say it's great to see you again, and thanks for coming on the Rec Poker podcast.
Likewise, nice to see all of you, and thank you for inviting me to be here.
Well, you've always had a great mind for poker, and you keep excellent company, if I do say so myself. But results have to be acknowledged. So if folks don't know, Elizabeth recently won the ladies' event at the Irish Open, but she's also been on a bit of a heater lately, coming up heads up in Spain a couple months ago. Well, here, Elizabeth, don't let me put words in your mouth.
Yeah, Bahamas.
Bahamas, sorry. Yes, that's right. I knew I was screwing that up. I knew I was going to screw it up. But Elizabeth, you've been a recreational poker player for a long time. You love playing the game. You love studying the game. You've been a really fun, active participant in the rec poker stuff that we've done here over the last while. If folks don't know you, can you just tell them a little bit? I always like to ask our guests to kind of define their own space in the poker world. So how do you think of yourself as a poker player these days?
I'm just a recreational player who loves to travel to play poker. And how that all came about is because I'm a busy professional in my home life. I would go on vacation to play poker. So it started with Bahamas. My first time there was actually in 2009 when I came 25th in the main event. My very first tournament. That was crazy.
Wow.
And, you know, I was so naive about poker, and I'm sure Kim will say, and she's still so naive about poker because my life is so busy. I travel to play poker, and as you mentioned, Kim and Stuart and some others, we travel pretty regularly, particularly Bahamas, Vegas, of course. And the Irish Poker Open, our last trip, we've done that trip every year since 2016, except for COVID. We've all had success and cashes there, and it has to be the most friendliest place to play poker in the world, right? And we go back because we love it. So I'm just a recreational player out there having fun. And no, I have to admit, not doing a lot of studying, picking up lessons learned as I go. Although I've learned a lot from Kim because, you know, as you all know, she studies poker and is pretty consistent and determined in improving her game, which she does. So obviously I benefit from that. And, you know, as she recently told me after I won the trophy at the Irish Poker Open, imagine what you might be able to do with some study and applying yourself to this, right? I am retiring from the practice of law as of May 31st. So I'm hoping to have more spare time, and we'll probably start studying the game and taking it more seriously. But for now, my success has been on gut instincts, lessons learned over the years. And I think really being able to read people and know when they're bluffing and when they're not, and taking advantage of that. And, I've learned some really good tips about that, mostly from Kim. And I also have learned lessons the hard way too. So
Right.
I'm sure we all have.
And I'll just remind folks, if you have any questions for Elizabeth, if you're here on the panel, just unmute and I'll call on you. If you're one of the people watching live on YouTube, feel free to just type your questions into the YouTube chat there. Kim Kilroy, she's known for studying poker, and then occasionally she also sleeps and eats. That's about it that I'm familiar with from what
That's a good
Kim's getting up to. Yeah. So no surprise there. You guys have, and I think it makes a big difference to have good friends that you spend time with, having conversations about poker, exploring each other's assumptions, learning together, bouncing ideas off each other. Like, would you say that that's really been a significant factor in your development as a player?
Absolutely. Discussing hands, and, going back a few years ago when we played more games on Poker Stars before Ontario passed its crazy legislation, we would do hand histories, right? And we would go through games, and that was really great stuff. And, Kim reminds us before every game starts and at every break, write down your hands, the ones that you get into that should be discussed. And she's constantly reminding us. So we definitely try to do that.
That's great. And actually, I guess I'll just take a segue here. It is, if you're listening to this live, if you're watching this live on Monday night, tomorrow night, April 25th, is Kim's hand history review group. Kim has a monthly hand history review group here for premium members. And if you want to get the Elizabeth Bennett-Martin experience and go off and go win something awesome in Ireland, apparently it all starts here. Chatting with other knowledgeable players like that. And Kim's got a fantastic group that we're all looking forward to learning more from her as we continue.
Yeah, and she has a great story about one of my hands from the PCA. Maybe you can share that, Kim, in your group tomorrow.
Yeah, and I mean, I'd like to talk to you about that a bit too, Elizabeth. These two finishes. So you were runner-up to Georgina in January, and then you took first in Ireland, and actually she was third, which is kind of interesting. Was there something different about the way that you prepared for these? Was there something different about sort of how you were feeling while you were there? Was it just getting the right cards and making the right reads on players? Did something feel different that resulted in these recent deep runs?
I think, really sheer determination of finally wanting to get the trophy. So I have been a runner-up 5 times, right, in poker events, and have never gotten the trophy. So I really wanted this one, including at the Irish Open. The first year we went, I was the runner-up in an open event in the mini Irish Open, and I didn't get that one either. And then I went on to have a few more. So there was that. And I think being in Bahamas, the other thing that happened in Bahamas is I won a package to the championship game, the $30,000 package, while I was there. So what happened is PokerStars had put it in to the prize pool in the ladies' event. When I got heads up against Georgina, she already had a package. Right. So we never finished our game the night before the championship game because you can only play to 4 a.m. in the Bahamas. So we broke and we agreed to reconvene it after day 1 of the championship game, in which she was playing at 10 or 10:30 that night. So the next day, Kim and I were talking and preparing a little bit about the heads up that I was going to be playing that night. And as well, I wanted to go out and play in the Atlantis Park and go on the rides and go for a beach walk and all of that. So we were getting ready to do that. And I had gotten a text from another poker friend saying that the event wanted me to come back for a media interview. And so I text back telling them, I thought it was about the ladies event. I said, I'll come back, earlier in the evening before the ladies event to do the interview. I really want to enjoy going for a beach walk. It's a beautiful day out today. So that when I was we were getting ready to go out, I look at my phone and I have all these missed calls from the UK and another message from PokerStars saying, please call us on an urgent basis. So I called them back, of course. Now I'm paying attention. I called them back and they said, we don't want to do a media interview. That was false pretense. We want to tell you won the $30,000 package. So now I'm screaming in my room and I'm screaming out to Kim, I want $30,000 package. I'm playing in the big game, right? And going crazy, happy. And so the PokerStars woman says, and this is exactly the reaction we wanted to catch on camera.
Yeah, I guess so.
So anyway, she said, so they said, get ready and come back because the event was going on, right? And here I am going off for a beach walk when I should be playing in this championship game. So I said, well, I got to have a shower and stuff. And then I went back and then it was a joke I lasted to day 3 for 3 days that I would rather go for a beach walk than my $30,000 package. So that was really exciting. So I played in day 1. And of course, in that championship game, there's lots of people who made it in different ways, but it's also the elite of professional poker players who are there, and PCA caters to, the big high roller games, and all those players are there. So it was really exciting to be there and to play with those kinds of players. And, on day 1, I felt like I really gotten beat up and pushed around, and every time I raised, somebody re-raised me, etc. And then, begroaning that at the end of the day to Kim. And we knew the tournament director of that event because he was from Ireland. And I was telling Nick, it was a really tough day. And he said, look, there's a lot of pros out there who wish they had your chip stack right now. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. I get to go to day 2. And so then I lasted day 2 and into day 3. And it got to that point, where you get in a tournament where you either need to double to move forward or you're going to bust. And that happened in day 3, and I didn't double in my hand. And so I busted fairly close to the money. But it was a fantastic experience. So I was really excited about that. And I think, it kind of, that excitement of playing live poker again and traveling. And then, Ireland was coming up pretty quickly. But in between, I went to Turning Stone to get more practice. And I made a final table. That was the WSOP circuit event. And I made the final table of the ladies event there. And I don't remember what I came. I think it was 6th or 7th. It was at the table. I lost all my chips.
Humble brag. Elizabeth's making so many final tables. She's like, I don't even know what I came in on that one. It wasn't. Yeah,
I don't really remember, but it's because I'm so focused. I want the trophy.
That's what
I want, right?
Good for you.
And so, and the whole thing about winning the trophy, and then in Ireland, that was my chance, right? And now I'm on a high from those events, and I'm going to do it this time. I learned some really good lessons, but I can tell you, like, one of the tips, and you probably have discussed this, that 3 times in the Irish Open is that breathing technique, when somebody, shoves all their chips in or makes a big move and they start breathing pretty quickly and it doesn't calm down. I use that to my advantage 3 times in Ireland. Once I was wrong and twice I wasn't. And the 2 times, were really important to building my stack. So, that was those, I think that, and those couple of hands where they were really big like that, and I had to make difficult calls with under pairs and made the right call. So that I was really happy that I actually, because I blew, in my mind, I went deep in the super seniors event in Vegas, right, in June. And I don't know, there's thousands of players, as you know, and I came 33rd or 36 in the 30s, right? I went really deep. And I had a hand just like that, where somebody, it didn't kind of make sense. It shoved all in on me, and I never made the call when I should have. And that guy showed me the bluff, which really made me angry.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Yeah.
And if I had called it, that would have made the difference between me getting to the final table. And I was already in the top 9 in chips, right? But I lost such a big stack in that hand. And I swore that was never, ever going to happen to me again. So I made up for it in Ireland.
Yeah, you sure did.
All these lessons you learn, right? And it's, and it's really helpful, when Kim is there and you can discuss it when you're a person who's just playing from gut instinct and learning as you go, right? To have, players to be able to do that with. So I think did that answer your question about what led up to Ireland?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was looking for. So I'll just remind our listeners, we're also going to do our food bank awareness drive at the end of the interview here. So just reminding people to start getting there. Yeah, we started doing that last year, and just a way to sort of raise awareness for food insecurity in our own communities. So Elizabeth, I don't think we can let that last answer go by without diving a little deeper into the breathing tell thing here. And then I think Chris has something as well. But first, so gift our audience with this technique that you're talking about here, that has been so helpful to you.
All right. Well, I really don't think it should be a gift that comes from me, because I learned it from others, but I'm happy to pass it on. So when somebody makes, a significant move in a hand, and a lot of the times it could happen on the flop or it can happen on the river, right? And you may not necessarily have the best hand, but they are putting forth the evidence that, they have the nuts or they have the best hand, and, you better fold that hand. So when players do that, the excitement of doing that causes people to breathe faster, and you can actually see the chest moving. So the first I learned the lesson that you have to watch for long enough. It usually takes about a minute, and Kim can correct me if I'm wrong. It takes them about a minute to calm down. So you're watching their chest, you're staring them down to see if that breathing calms down. If they calm down, they probably have the winning hand. If they don't calm down, you probably have the winning hand, and you should be calling in that situation. Right.
I love it. So, and the sense is that it's just they remain anxious or they remain nervous if they don't have it, and so their pulse and their breathing continues to quicken like that.
Right. And in the ladies event of the IPO, I was in a big hand with Michelle Bricknell before we went to the final table, on the redraw, when we were at, I think it's 24 players when they do that. And I ended up being in a big hand with her, and she was the chip leader. She had most of the chips along with Georgina. And we got into that hand, and I had a pair of 7s. Top pair on the board was 8s. And, the rest was really nothing, right? There were no flushes. No draws really, straight draws, I mean. So anyways, and you had to figure out what she was the pre-flop raiser. So what was she raising with on that flop? So anyways, she made a move, and she made a significant bet for more than half of my chips. And so I watched her, and she was breathing, and she didn't slow down. And so I thought, you know what? You came this far. You got to make the call. If you're wrong, you're wrong. Just do it, right? Because it's so hard to do it when you're going to really cripple your chip stack. So anyways, I made the call, and she had ace high, and I had the pocket 7s. And that's how I moved into position to go deep to make the final table, and then go deep, and then end up heads up against her. And I don't know if you know her, Michelle Bricknell. Her 2 sons are professional poker players, and they do quite well.
That's
But
amazing.
she's a really good player herself. So it's a poker family.
That must be sort of a terrifying feeling, like just like knowing that you're going to make the call and using that
Yes.
tell.
Right.
Kim, you
And
had
you
something
just,
there?
Yeah, just to give original credit to Ryan LaPlante, who gave us that in one of his lessons, and I've been preaching it ever since and using it. And I was so mad at Elizabeth last year in the Super Seniors when she didn't use it because she knew about it. I told her off so much that she's obviously learned her lesson. Really well.
I told you, I learned them the hard way. And if I don't learn them the hard way, Kim will make sure I learn them the hard way. But I love her for it.
That's great. So yeah, folks, don't hesitate to use your time bank. You know, that time is yours. Put the other person in the blender and see if you can pick anything up. That's definitely part of your strategic value at the table there. Use that time bank. Chris, you had something.
Well, Elizabeth, I'm wondering, I mean, you mentioned 2009, you went to the Bahamas for the first time. You've got Poker Friends Forever, where you've been traveling around using kind of vacation to play poker. But I wonder if you can take us back to that. Like, how did that start? And like, what were you already really into poker, or did you just end up on this sort of random trip that you played poker and then found out you loved it, or kind of like what drew you to that sort of?
So, Chris, that's a really funny story. So when I was kids, we played poker games for pennies and nickels, you know, with our relatives and parents and stuff when I was younger. So I was working out with, his name's Dominic Mirabelli, so I could give him credit for this. He was a personal trainer and I was working out with him. And some mornings he would come looking really tired. And I was like, Dominic, you don't look like you slept. What are you doing? Playing poker. I'm like, what kind of poker? Texas Hold'em. I'm like, you got to teach me. I love those kinds of games. So anyways, he set me up on a play with play money on Stars and I started playing it. And then he invited me out to a tournament that they have in Vaughan here in Maple. And I went and there were like 52 guys and me, mostly Italians. And I won the whole thing. And so he's like, you got a knack for this. So they invited me every 2 months. They did that. I went back the next month and I won the whole thing again, back to back, right? So this is my first live playing, right? And so anyways, the guy said to me, you know, if you want to play more, they were playing 4 seats into events in Vegas, online, private group, about 14 guys. They invited me to play with them. I'm like, okay. So I started playing with them online. And then while I was playing online with them, I wanted to get better. So now I join money tournaments and I see how long I could last for. So I started doing that on Stars. So I played in a PCA event. I'll be honest, I didn't even know what PCA was. Okay.
Yeah.
So I play in satellite for PCA and I win it. Right? So I win this trip to the PCA. So I say to Dominic, you got to go. Right? And he's like, no. And so by this time they nicknamed me Lizzie. This is where Lizzie comes from. They're like, no, Lizzie, you have to go. So I said to Dominic, okay, I have to go. I've never played in a live event with professional poker players or anything before. You come with me. You bring your family. I'll bring my family. And if I win anything, I'll give you half. Let's just go and have fun. So in my mind, I'm already a winner. I have a $10,000 entry fee. I have, time there in Bahamas and expenses. So both our families go and I end up going deep. And I come 25th. I win $40,000. So we had some play money. We went crazy on several $1,000s, $4,000 or $5,000. And then we split the rest of the money and Dominic got almost $20,000 US for coming to the Bahamas with me.
Wow.
And that's
I can see
how I got hooked. That's
my
how
God.
I got hooked.
Yeah, well, I can see why you and Kim and Stu and everybody like traveling around and playing poker tournaments. And
that's
you're
where I
blessed.
met. That's where I met Kim and Stuart. So
No way.
yes.
Wow.
So then I went on to so now I'm playing for
Well, then
these
she
trips.
just thought it was an easy game, right?
Yes.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
so then I went on and I kept playing. I won that trip 7 of 10 years. And then when I was there in 2014, we met, right, Kim? 13 or 14. And then in 15, Kim and I both won the trip and we went. And then in that year, I did really well again, not as good as 09. That would be the next time, 2015. And I came, I don't know, 60th maybe. Poker Stars, that's when they put me into their, PCA TV show, the series.
Yeah.
So that was exciting, right? Totally unexpected. And they were following me. So it's been a lot of fun.
Sounds like it. Yeah, with those kind of results, at least, it sounds like it would be a lot of fun. Now, you and I, we've actually played. Because I know you play a lot of these satellites, and it's a savvy bet. You and I played in the same WSOP satellite last year, and we both did pretty well. I think we both won. We both won some kind of seat package out of there.
Yeah,
and I think
you won the main, and I won the second.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Let's tell it. Although I won a main in the other one that I was playing.
and you turned the second one into something. I think you did more with yours than I did with mine.
I won 10,000 and change. So I brought money back to the group.
Very nice. Yeah, well done. That was awesome. So I've got a few more questions. I know like time is flying by here, but how do you recommend other recreational players like select these kinds of opportunities to play in these satellites? Is it just a question of you've met the right people and sort of have played in the right pools for these? Are you that much better than the other people in it? Do you have a strategic edge? Because it sounds like this is just like a super fun way to go traveling around the world playing poker, is winning your way in through these kind of satellite tournaments. I mean, it's really great, although I think it's become harder over time than it was earlier on when I was doing it. I find now it's easier to do it in live games than online, but we don't really have the opportunity in Ontario to do it. Right. I recently signed up for WSOP.ca because they're running games for the main event for Vegas. So I'm going to try that out if I ever get on there. I'm working out the logistics now. And so we'll see how it goes. But it's been a while that we've been able to actually do it. Yeah. Joe, you had something, I think.
Well, partially I'm just tired of listening to you talk, Jim, but that's pretty normal. So.
Well, you came to the wrong show, brother.
Yeah, I know. So I really had two questions. The first one has to do with social support, which coincidentally is a presentation that a particular RECing Crew member just did recently. And a lot of, you've talked a lot about social support and meeting Kim and Stuart along the way through your process. How did your comfort level in terms of playing poker and the real kind of vagaries change once you kind of develop this consistent team that you were working with, studying with, and talking about hands? Oh, definitely. You become a lot more comfortable. Well, the more you play, the more comfortable you become. Like, that trip to Bahamas, that first one, my hands were shaking and I couldn't believe it, because you take my biggest court case, right? Court of Appeal, wherever. I have never had shakes. And now here I am in a poker game, which I won my way into. It didn't cost me anything. And my hands were shaking when I pick up the chips. And it would do that for like the first 5 minutes or so of every single level. It didn't stop through the entire game. But I think as you talk about poker and you become more familiar and you play more, you become a lot more comfortable over time. Like, I think it comes with experience. Certainly that would be my view. So my second question actually was when I was reviewing a lot of the information. And the interesting thing that I found, which actually surprised me in this area, is that for the most part, women want to play, and you won the women's championship, if I have it correct. They want to play at a table all of women.
But in terms of social support, the interesting thing is that the only time women report being more concerned or nervous in terms of their activities of a variety of sorts is actually when they're doing it with other women, that actually makes them more nervous. And I found that fascinating in terms of the research. Do you find that common, that when you're playing in the women's games versus the more mixed games, that you're more nervous rather than less?
No, I'm surprised to hear you say that, actually. That's the results. Now I haven't done any studies, obviously, but I find that surprising because, in women-only events, it's a lot more friendlier, and, we try to make other women comfortable, and you don't have really, some players are very intense, but not the wide variety of characters that you get in an open game, right?
Mhm.
And women's events tend to be smaller events compared to an open event. So I'm actually quite surprised about that. But no, I am not nervous at all in a women's event until I get heads up. And then it's only because I want that turn trophy.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Chris?
Elizabeth, we have a question from one of the audience members we've already mentioned. Stewie writes in, probably in reference to this the Tell conversation from earlier. On the flip side of things, he wonders, are you able to control your own breathing and heart rate? When you make a big bluff move, are you aware of, now that you've sort of started to look for this in other players, are you aware of your own practice when you're making a big bluff or something at the table?
Absolutely. And I practice it, right? So you really have to practice it, and you have to recognize, okay, now it's your turn to be in that position. So I have a strategy of, developing a strategy at the beginning of the game of, being more of a tight player, so that when it gets further into the game, I can get away with making certain moves because I have the reputation of being super tight. Probably don't want everybody to know that out there, but in any event, they need to catch me in whatever mode I'm in. But so when it counts and you're deep and you're making moves, I practice that. And also, one of the lessons that I learned in Bahamas, actually prior to that, because in December we did a poker cruise. And on the poker cruise, I learned some pretty important lessons as well. And so one of them was breathing techniques. And you need to be practicing that throughout your entire poker game, right? Because there's always hands, whether, they're extremely big ones and they're going to make a difference to making it to that final table or not, that, are going to cause excitement. And so you have to practice that breathing, right? And I also think having a looser jacket's helpful.
Oh,
saying.
Yep.
Right?
Because it's not as obvious when you're breathing in and out.
Exactly.
Yep.
Right.
Yep,
and,
makes sense.
I also learned about a couple of my tells now, which, I'm working on correcting as well. So,
Yep.
We all have them. And, tells that I thought that I dealt with like years ago are coming up again. And so you kind of have to be cognizant of, as things change or you become more relaxed about the game, are you consistently doing the things that you want to be doing and that you intend to do?
So a little birdie, I was talking to Stewie actually last week about, because I've made my own plans for Vegas this year. I'm going to be down there for the last couple of weeks of June, and we're looking at dates to get a rec poker meetup together or something like that. Do you have travel plans this summer? I assume you're going to be making an appearance.
Yes, absolutely. Every year. So I'll be there from June, I think 21st to July 4th.
Oh, nice.
5th maybe. And it depends. If I find my way into that main event, then obviously I'd be there longer. So it's flexible.
Nice.
Well, I still have money to play from last year because I didn't get to play it all.
That's awesome. Well, so folks, if you're down there, if we're doing this Rec Poker meetup in the last week of June, maybe there's a chance you can come down and meet Elizabeth and the Poker Friends Forever group. We get a chance to have a drink or a meal, or maybe find ourselves on the felt or something like that. Do you play cash at all, or is it just strictly tournaments?
Sometimes I play cash, but I'm really a tournament player, but sometimes I discipline myself that I need to go and win the buy-in in cash before I buy the ticket. And I used to do that a lot before I started playing the satellites. So it depends upon the circumstances. So fortunately, I've been having a good run of it lately. So I find myself with lots of the right currency to play the games that I want to play. So haven't had to play any cash. But, sometimes at the end of the night, I'll join a table, especially in Ireland, just for fun, right? To play and hang out and have a drink, but not a serious cash player, no.
Nice. We got a question here from Gibber. That's the real Jim Gibson here in the YouTube chat. He says, will you be able to find time soon to come back to the home games? We miss playing with you.
Oh, absolutely. I'm going to be on there tonight. And I did play, I think it was last week. I played one night as well. Yeah, I've wanted to come back actually because it's good practice and it it keeps you in the game. It's for me, I'd love to be on here every night. It's just time commitments for me. That's the problem. Yeah, but I can play poker tonight.
There you go. Yeah, nice. We were just talking about them before we went on the air. Elizabeth was saying she was excited about jumping back into the home games. And that's a great point, Elizabeth, because I think poker is one of those things that if you have to knock the rust off, you've really got a disadvantage against everyone else that's kind of keeping themselves fresh. Like, I think it's something that benefits from continuing to play, even if you're just dipping a toe in, just getting those mental reps, going through those decision points and keeping it kind of fresh in your mind. I just think gives you a huge advantage when you do go and play. So
absolutely. You also get to play a lot more hands online, right?
That's true. Poker. That's true. So you mentioned that you're bringing the legal portion of your life to an end. You've been a practicing lawyer for a long time, and I'm excited that you're hanging up the skates for that one, because I know you've been moving into mediations, and I see Bennett Mediations up behind you. So I'm glad that that's going well.
Yes.
What kind of corollaries do you find between either the legal world or the world of mediation and the poker world? And do you find that there's some skills that compare between the two?
Okay, so as a lawyer and as a mediator, the correlation would be, I think, in terms of being able to read people, right? And just having gut instincts for things and, analyzing, I've spent over 30 years now, right? And, analyzing people's credibility and whether they're credible or not. So you can bring that to the table. I was also asked about, how do I bring the negotiation compromise to the poker game? And my response to that is you don't, right? The goal of the game is to get all the chips. There is no compromise in poker, right? So the only advantage is really, being able to read people and determine whether people are credible or not, because as you all know, there's a lot of characters in a poker game.
I love it. That's a good one. John?
Well, I've been watching Breaking Bad recently, trying to catch up. And I was wondering, since Jim said it's the end of your life legally, is this the beginning of your illegal life? I mean, I
knew I was going to get stepped on for that by someone here. One of these smart asses.
No, I'm going on. As we all say, we're trying to live our best life. So, I'm not actively practicing as a lawyer, but I'm continuing forward in Bennett Mediations with a plan of not working probably more than 6 to 7 days a month. So that will provide some money for my travels and other things I want to do in life without touching savings. And then I also want to focus not only on poker and studying and learning more about the game, but I also have a charity that I co-chair in Cambodia. It's CLEW, CLEW, and it stands for Cambodian Legal Education for Women. And it's a charity that I started with my business partner, Chuck Gassel, and his wife, Ruth, back in 2008. And for me, that I'm very passionate about it. I could talk forever about it, but that is just going to be my life's greatest work. Because we take young women from the countryside, you know, who live in poverty and in really difficult circumstances, and we bring them to Phnom Penh. We house them. We pay for their food, their education, their medical care through a 4-year law degree in their language, Khmer. And then if they're able to learn English well enough, and all of our students learn English and get English lessons because that's important for them to get a better job, they can go on and do a law degree in English as well. So we have, you know, over almost 80 graduate students now. We have over 80 students come through the program. And most recently, just in recent years, we now have 7 lawyers actually working in the countryside, helping other, you know, families in difficult, impoverished situations, right? It's, you know, in Cambodia, when you live in the countryside and you're a farmer and, you know, the goal in life is to get enough food to live. There's no such thing as, you know, material things. You know, they live in grass huts and lean-tos, etc. So I just love that work. And the students that graduate from our program, and we've had a great success. We've only ever had 1 student who didn't complete of all of those students.
That's amazing.
And they have gone on to find really good jobs by Cambodian standards, right? Admin assistants, you know, working for government agencies, banks, insurance companies, human rights, you know, women's rights. And they empower not only themselves, but their families. They get their families out of poverty. They help educate their brothers, their sisters, their cousins. You know, they bring it back to their villages and they truly help each other. So it's really a program that works because it's at the university level, which helps make the difference to their life going forward. There's lots of charities who keep children in elementary school, and there's many throughout Cambodia, and we have great relationships with them. And they refer their elementary who become high school students to us eventually. So yeah, I could talk about that subject forever, and I'm probably already out of time.
Well, it's such a great cause. And I know I've had fun playing in your annual golf tournament fundraiser in the spring. If you're in Southern Ontario, it's a great crowd. It's a great cause, and it's a lot of fun. Is there one coming up in this September,
we have
Elizabeth?
one coming up on Thursday, September 14th. We're working on it right now, making plans. So yeah, you're all invited. Come and golf with us.
Well, maybe
it's a great day.
Let's throw some RecPoker membership prizes into the prize pool there, and maybe we can encourage some folks to come and support the cause and pull some money out of their pocket that they wouldn't otherwise. I'd love that.
Perfect. Thank you.
Well, so folks, and I'll say the in the show notes for the episode today, we'll include a link to CLEW's homepage, so you can go and find out more about that information. Elizabeth, if folks want to get in touch with you to find out more about you, your mediation work, your charity work, or just kind of just absorb some of the good times, how do you like people to reach you? Is it on Twitter or what's the best way?
Like, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Facebook, I'm on all social media, so it's easy, really easy to find me. But my email that I'll be using going forward is my initials, EBM at bennettmediations.com. And thank you so much, Joe. I just saw that message. That's really sweet of you.
Yeah, Joe's a sucker for a good cause. He's been a big help in our fight against food insecurity here as well.
That was supposed to be anonymous, but
nothing's ever anonymous with me with CLEW, because I'm so grateful for all the help that we get.
Amazing. Well, Elizabeth, thank you so much. It's great to be able to talk with you again and see your smiling face. I hope we get a chance to connect in Vegas this summer, and otherwise, just keep on traveling the world, kicking butt at the poker tables, and having a great time doing it. It was wonderful to catch up
I will
again.
definitely do my best, and I will look forward to seeing all of you somewhere on the felt, and especially in Vegas.
Yeah. All right. Cheers. Well, you know where to find us. Thanks again, Elizabeth.
All right. Thank you so much.
Well, we're going to do our food bank draw as soon as John Somsky's finished going through some home game results. So I see a couple people have already started typing the words food bank into the chat. I'll just remind folks
really,
that
really jumping the
they're
gun
getting on
this
it.
week. They're on it. They don't even need the prompting.
It's because I came out early and I made people false start, I think, a little earlier in the show. But yes, it's I'll just mention again, you never know who needs help. Sometimes the people that need a little help putting food in their belly would surprise you. It's not always who you expect. And a great way to make the world a better place in your own neighborhood, in your own community, is by donating some time, money, or some non-perishable food items to a food bank near you. And if you just Google food bank near me, some organizations will pop up that could enjoy your support. So start typing food bank in. Oh, and I guess I should say what people are going to win. So we've been giving away some amazing prizes lately. If you're not a RecPoker Premium member, you're going to win a month of RecPoker Premium. If you're already a RecPoker Premium member, then congratulations, you've unlocked the next tier of available prizes. You can win a month at Learn Pro Poker, Range Trainer Pro, 100K Studios, the Poker Forge. There's a few other ones that we're going to be giving away some prizes for. And that's just one of the perks of showing up for free here on the podcast on YouTube on Monday nights at 7:30 Eastern. So, John, why don't you take us through some recent home game results, including an inaugural winner of a brand new event that didn't even exist until last week, which I'm pretty excited about.
Yeah, that is, of course, the Go for the Gold event. The very first gold pin winner is Spot Conlon, Daniel Kennedy, who won the event, which was the only eligible players were those who had already won a silver pin.
And I'll tell you, Dan was like 2 seats to my right in the first table, or I guess for a while of it there, and he was just chipping up. He could not play a hand wrong. I tried to take a few away from him. Don't advise that next time. And he just kept on chipping up. He had a stack the whole time. And there was no surprise to see that he took it all the way home. Congratulations, Dan. One of the OGs around here, too. So I couldn't be happier.
That's rarefied air. That's like, that's a very exclusive club.
It's the only one.
Club of one.
Yeah, club of one.
Yeah, that is exclusive.
Probably a little boring for the party scene, but
yeah, I mean,
just wait till next year. At least next year, I'll have someone to join him. They can play heads up for a while. Yeah.
Well, you never know. Dan is still eligible to play next year. Exactly.
This is like the Masters, right? We're gonna have this gold for the gold tournament every year in April, and you're always eligible to play in it if you have ever in your life won a silver pin. So a little extra incentive to come out and win those silver pins as if you needed that.
On April 17th, Digging 8 Graves, Chris Simonu won his third nightly event for the year. GF Hawk, Eric Romo got his first nightly victory for the year. Michael Babker got his third nightly victory for the year.
Amazing.
Struth 1, Jim got his first nightly victory for the year.
Another Jim. Excellent.
B-Chip Charles Allen got his third nightly victory for the year. And Evil Roy CA, David Westerveld, got his second nightly victory for the year, making it 51 lifetime victories. 51.
Boy,
that's impressive.
Amazing. Yep.
J-May USA. J-May.
We got him. We got him, everybody. We got him.
I've said this name before. It should not be that hard.
Yeah, I think they're playing from Japan. They might be officially the player that's driven the furthest to be here. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Yep. Jun Nomoto got his first daily mixed victory for the year.
And they made their name public. They've won enough of these. They've heard you talking about how if you make your name public, then we'll give you the shout out on the air. And so who was the winner again? What was their actual, what was their name?
Jun Nomoto.
June, congratulations. I'm so glad to see that you finally opened up that shell, sharing your name on the podcast here along with all our other winners. Way to go. And congratulations on another notch on your RecPoker belt. You've won a few of these over the last little while, so way to go.
Yeah, but Jim, they're going to have their name revealed one way or the other if they ever win, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, that's right. My dox rate has dropped sharply, I'd like to point out, over the last few episodes. I'm being a little more careful about that private information.
Then Jasper Jr., Pat Barry got his second international victory for the year. Elvis 76 got his first international victory for the year. And Roadstar 33 won the daily LPP event, so he can contact Jim at rec.poker for a free month at Learn Pro Poker.
I'm even paying attention this week, and I know who that person is. I know who all three of those last winners were, and I didn't dox any of them. Usually I'd be like, oh, congratulations, Steve. And I can say that now because you don't know which of those three was Steve. But Steve was one of them, and congratulations.
I'm guessing Steve wasn't Pat. So it's really one of those two.
Uh-oh.
The episode is not over yet.
That's true. That's true. So, folks, if you enjoy sort of the fun that we have celebrating our premium members, we're always going to be shouting out the username of the winner. But if you make your first and last name public, or even just your first name public in your RecPoker profile, then we'll give you the credit that you deserve. And are asking for, as opposed to when I'm in charge, when it's just the credit you deserve, whether you ask for it or not.
Well, to be fair, it also needs to be your PokerStars username needs to be public as well.
Yes, thank you.
Otherwise, we assume you don't want the two cross-pollinated or it to be known.
Okay, thanks, John. Great clarification. And again, if you have any questions about the Home Game Club, email John at rec.poker. He's the man behind the curtain. He makes all the magic happen there. I don't think people realize just how much work he puts into this every week. It's a lot. He's a legend. We're really lucky to have him. And something that, John, you brought up last week, I want to mention, I got an email from one of our recent winners, Eric Romo, who was saying, hey, I've been getting a lot of emails from the Home Game Club recently. What's going on with that? We did mention on the podcast last week that it's a long story. They've changed the software a little bit, but I did check. If you open the client, if you open the Home Game Club, over on the right there, there's the settings gear. If you hit that, you can tick the box that says, don't send me emails from this Home Game Club. And so that's the best way to do that and spare yourself some emails coming out.
Yeah, just for clarification, I set up the nightly March tournaments for the year, and evidently I didn't give them the right end date. It must be out to 2024, so I have to one at a time cancel them. And currently they are set up to June 20th, but I will keep them going moving forward. So when you get a tournament that is canceled that was for June 20th, you can pretty much ignore that.
Okay, there you go. And yeah, there are a lot of home games coming around here, so all credit to John Somsky for doing such a great job so far. And yeah, like I say, folks, don't be miffed if you're getting too many emails. Just go and tick that box and take yourself off.
Well, I also want to thank everyone who has pointed out mistakes I've made, because I'm doing a lot and I tried to go as fast as I can, which means I do make mistakes occasionally. So keep on letting me know, and I will correct those as I have time.
Well, you got a thank you from Danny Wood in the YouTube chat here. So the thanks are just beginning. But yeah, and I will point out, my ongoing promotion is still live. If you see John Somsky in the wild and you buy him a beer, I need photographic evidence. But tweet me with a photo of John drinking that beer, and then I will buy you a beer when we meet up in Las Vegas. It's a free roll. It's a beer Somsky free roll by John Somsky beer. That is the hidden message there.
And I'm just reflecting on the this is kind of new information to me that we're supposed to point out John's mistakes. I usually just try to sweep them under the rug so that we all can just kind of ignore them. We're supposed to point these out now.
John, who is currently muted, just for the record, in full
mistake.
Yeah. Oh, John, what are you doing? You're muted.
What I'm trying to say is mistakes that I have the ability to correct. I'd love for you to tell me about those. Mistakes that are uncorrectable, which I make plenty of those as well. You can just chuckle to yourself and enjoy.
That's right. Well, if you're a listener to the Forums podcast, you know that we celebrate sharing our mistakes with the community, because that's how we get better, by sharing those mistakes and those errors and learning from them, which is, I'm sure, the goal for John. Okay, so just speaking of home games, I'm going to put one more piece of news out there, and then Chris, we're going to have to do the roll because you got to go set up the seminar tonight. I know you're a busy guy on these Monday nights.
True that.
So I teased at the top 100K Studios. Rob Gardner, who was a co-host in the RecPoker Rec Madness, or the commentator. He was the commentator. I was the host. I don't know. Rob Gardner and I had a great time in March from Rec Madness on some of the matches there. And we've been collaborating on a few things coming up. One of them is 100K Studios has a series of leaderboard qualifier tournaments going on this summer. So for May, June, and July, each month is going to have its own set of player of the month leaderboard race tournaments. Now, we've arranged for some of these to be just for RecPoker members. And so every Tuesday night in May, starting next week, all you have to do is play in our Tuesday night online home game, the normal one. You don't have to join any new clubs, just play on Tuesday night like usual. And everyone who makes the final table is going to be awarded points. At the end of the month, 100K Studios is going to tabulate all the points. There's a multiplier involved. I'll put the link to the, I'll put a link in the show notes for the standings and everything there. But ultimately what's going to happen is over the summer, there'll be a series of qualifying tournaments, and then they're going to give away 2 packages to a Run Good event coming up in August or September. It's a $1,000 package that'll include entry, some accommodation, some cash to get there, and the trophy itself. So it's a lot of fun. You just have to play in the Tuesday night games like you are already. They're free. So come and play for free and win yourself an entry into a Run Good event coming up this summer, compliments of 100K Studios. So we're excited. And thank you to Rob and for all the other folks over there for choosing RecPoker as one of the people that they're going to work with to get this, to get some of these prizes awarded. That's fantastic. I see we're getting some fun comments here in the YouTube chat. We got a few Jims. There you go. I love seeing more Jims here in RecPoker world. One is not enough. Gibber is good. Nice to have 2, but we could do better. I like this. We got Jim Langford in here. I'm excited about that. Oh, Struth. Yeah, right on. Cool. I recognize you from the home game. Congratulations. I think if memory serves, we also discussed a shared interest in the Wheel of Time series by Robert Jordan. So right on. Obviously a man of excellent taste and character. So John or Chris, I think we've
mistake.
So we don't want any tomfoolery or bamboozling going on here. I think we should credit Charles Allen with that. I do too.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's not miss Charles Allen, who is very Johnny on the spot here.
No, can't do that. So yeah, well, he knows you got to get in there early. Like Rob had some that time, like just leading off the episode with it, right? So I've got Charles first, and then I see Evil Roy, the RRCCC, Gibber, Stewie, Luke. Oh, Luke, hey, congratulations, man. And Luke Driscoll, you're one of the online review and hang winners. You'll be participating this Wednesday if you like. I just sent out a message about that. Jim Cree and Danny Wood and Jim Langford. I ran out of fingers. How did we do there?
I think that's 9.
For God's sake, I got to do it again. Stupid me.
I got Charles. 9 as well.
Okay, it's probably 9. So you got a 10-sider, don't you, Chris?
I do. Is that what
and what's is?
That one? Yeah. So then we just re-roll the 0, right?
Re-roll the 0. Yep. That makes sense. Yeah.
All right. It's a 5.
Let's see. It's not a 3. Congratulations.
Very good number.
Yeah, you're so in love with 5s. All right, Charles is 1. Why do I have so much trouble with this?
I got Stewie. Stewie's my the 5th, right?
Stewie is number 5.
Yep, Stu Carriage. All right, Stu, one of the poker friends forever. All right, the rich get richer over here. Stu, I don't know. I'm not sure. Stu's already so good at poker. He's been cleaning my gutters every time we get together. And is that an expression? I think I just made that one up. No, I don't think that's like a Canadian regional thing. It's not like Bless your cotton socks. All right, Chris, let's get out of here. Stu, congratulations. Send me the email, jim@rec.poker. You've won some free month of somewhere fantastic. We'll figure it out when you get in touch with me, but congratulations for that. Running Aces has some exciting events coming up. I'll just tell folks if they want to find out more about Running Aces, head over to runaces.com and you can take a look at their tournament schedule and everything else they've got coming up. What else, folks? What did I forget? What other notes do we have to hit before we roll on out of here and let these hostages home? Let them get out of here. Oh my God. Joe, you look like you've got some smart ass thing to say. Get in here.
Just want to figure out why you would think that somehow cleaning your gutters is a positive chip collection thing. I mean, I want to just delve into that from a psychological standpoint for like hours and figure that one out.
Yeah. I started with clean my clock, and I thought, is that like I don't know, like is it like a fight thing, like a violence thing, or
why would you go to gutters?
I don't know. It was I don't improvise well. I don't know if anyone else could tell. That was not a strength of mine.
Yeah, you're welcome to come and clean my gutters anytime. Just bring a ladder. No problem.
As generous as ever, John. Thank you for that wonderful offer. I know that I will be in Minnesota for the Running Aces Rec Poker weekend that we're planning for August or September. No date has been set for that yet, but that's I'll be there. Get your gutters ready, John, because I'm coming, I guess is what I'm saying. All right. Chris, thank you so much for you being our producing co-host and putting up with all this. Chris is going to be doing the deep dive seminar tonight, and it's not too late. I think if you're watching this live, you can probably still snag a seat. So go check out the forum post for that. And otherwise, I just want to thank Elizabeth Bennett-Martin so much for sharing her story with us. That was super fun to catch up with her again. Joe Coolis, Kim Kilroy, John Somsky, Chris Jones, of course, the Running Aces Hotel, Racetrack, and Casino, and all the fun people in the chat today. Thanks for all these gyms showing up and having fun, and mostly you, the listeners, because you're the best and couldn't be with us. All right, see you next week, everybody. Take care.